In a FOX23 investigation, it was a big weekend out on the Arkansas River. Zink Lake opened up, featuring a new wave park, and Tulsa's Great Raft Race returned after a 4-year hiatus.
But while many Tulsans headed out for the fun, others were hesitant, worried about water quality in the river. The River Parks Authority, in fact, did close the wave park on Sunday after heavy rains the day before.
Tulsa's investigative reporter Jana Clark looked into those concerns and how they affected the revival of the raft race.
Bringing back Tulsa's Great Raft Race is nostalgic for some. Ray Thompson dressed up like a Viking in 2017 to match his boat and told us he'd raced in the 70s.
I was in 1975, 76, 77 in the raft race, the originals.
The race ran from 1973 to 1991. That's when Becky Quackenbush told us she'd made a homemade raft.
Well, it was 24 years ago.
We talked to her in 2015, the year the city brought it back.
I fell in love with it. And when they said they were going to have it again, I said, I'm in.
Great job.
Over the years, we've talked to people who keep coming back for more.
Absolutely.
I fly back from Colorado and do the raft race every year.
It was awesome.
This just shows people how much of a big little city we are.
From a perspective that not every Tulsan gets to see, it's pretty darn cool.
But it's not without risk. Tulsa's Arkansas River has a history of questionable water quality. These Tulsa Health Department signs used to be posted along the banks of the river. They warned people about getting in the water. I've told you that since 2012, no one had been testing the water until the city started this past January. The city takes samples for the bacteria, E. coli, on Tuesday and Thursday and posts them on Wednesday and Friday. Since the race was on a Monday, we won't know what the water quality was like that day. Overall, here's what the numbers show. It's a 30-day geometric mean. The red line shows the standard, what's considered an okay amount of E. coli by the Department of Environmental Quality. Since early June, the two sites along the West Bank show acceptable levels. But on the east side of the bank, it's a different story. The test at the kayak flume has been too high since mid-July. And at the I-244 bridge, it's been too high since early June. The city has said no one should swim in the water. Experts say one of the biggest dangers is getting water in your mouth or in an open wound. But in the history of the Great Raft Race, people do get in, some on accident, when their boats fail.
As soon as they go into the water down the boat ramp, it usually is seaworthy or not. But I guess one split in half right when it entered the water. So I think those guys' day is probably over.
In 2015, we told you how this Ghostbusters-themed raft flipped over.
Immediately upon getting it into the water.
That same year, 15 rafts sank or fell apart, and rescuers had to help people get out of the water and treated some for cuts they got when they were in the water. Over the years, some people got in on purpose. This guy biked in. This one plunged in on a skateboard. This one missed an inflatable shamu, and these guys just jumped in. Others used hoses to spray each other with river water. This year, the city required each boater to sign this waiver. It says, the undersigned acknowledge that the activity is inherently dangerous. It says the risks and dangers of the activity include water quality and environmental quality, contact with the water. At this year's return of the race, we asked people what they thought about getting in the river. Like this group from Tulsa Synagogue, B'nai Imuna.
We were a little nervous about it. We were, none of us decided to go swimming. So we want that water clean.
There were some other
enjoy it.
There were some other about spraying water, and we avoided the water spray just in case.
They did check the dashboard info before they got in.
I'm glad that at least we're starting with the dashboard. I think that's really helpful.
Teresa Kaiser and Brian Wood say they knew to be cautious and tried not to touch the water when they took part in the race.
Big thing here is just try to stay on top of it. I wouldn't swim in it on purpose.
Didn't get in the water, kept our mouths closed when we actually accidentally splashed, I think. I don't know. I think if I would have had like an open wound on my leg or something, I would have thought twice better. I would have wrapped it up really well.
Our goal was to not be in the water. I was really afraid the boat would sink, and it didn't, so I call that a big win. So if nothing else, we made it to the finish line without being in the water, so we were good.
Some people couldn't help but get in the water. like these teens from Thunderbird Challenge program who volunteered to help get rafts out of the water.
We're like more far in the water than the other people.
Even though rafters told us they were cautious, they're happy to bring back a Tulsa tradition.
We were really impressed just the number of people who came out and went to so much trouble to put together rafts.
It's great that they brought the raft race back to Tulsa, and we're doing it again.
I'm glad the raft race is back.
On the Arkansas River, covering news that matters. Jana Clark, Fox 23 News.
The Great Raft Race was part of a 4-day big dam party to celebrate the opening of the pedestrian bridge, Zink Lake, and that wave park.
We asked what was the cost for all of those events. $250,000 came from your tax dollars, tourism tax money managed by Visit Tulsa.
Visit Tulsa also told us the rest of the money came from private donations. They wouldn't say just how much, but said some of the donations came from Williams, the George Kaiser Family Foundation, and Quick Trip.
Do you have a tip or issue that you think Jana Clark should investigate? Let us know. Email FOX23 Investigates at fox23.com or call 918-388-5354 or search Fox 23 Jana Clark on Facebook.